So hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm bringing you guys a brand new draft that I've built today. I've tried so many different drafts today, and this draft created a new record in the Fantasy Football Hub AI rating. It got rated 95 out of 100, and that is the highest I've got and it's the highest I've seen. So I'm just going to introduce it to you guys and let me know what you think down in the comment below. So welcome back to FPL Mike channel. This is a channel where we talk about all things FPL, and let's get straight into it. So the keeper's rotation forms a Mark Flecken and Alfonso Areola rotation. One from Brentford, the other one from West Ham. They rotate pretty solid in every single game week. Mark Flecken, I think Brentford got tough game week 2, 4, and 5 fixtures where Areola can straight comes into the team. And they formed a very well rotation between them. Flecken, as we always know, nailed on starter for Brentford. Same thing as Areola. So you got two nailed on start keeper that can play in every single game week. So yeah, game week 2 they got Liverpool, but West Ham they got Crystal Palace, so you can play there. So it forms a pretty nice rotation there. So that's how the keeper position lines up. In the back five, I've gone with the first player still Trent Alexander-Arnold. We'll see how good he is. In the preseason game just finished between Liverpool and Sevilla, Trent have gotten an assist to Diogo Jota, and it shows we still can see amazing long ball passing ability by Trent and how attacking he is. Although he's not as inverted as he is under Jurgen Klopp, but he still provides enough crosses and enough attacking threats into the boxes for those Liverpool strikers and attackers to score. And he's on corners, he's on some of the free kicks. So there's no reason not to go for Trent. A 7 mil is one of the lowest price for him since 2019 1920 season, which is the season he blossomed. So there's not a reason not to go for Trent at this price tag, and with great opening fixtures, I think Trent is a nailed on starter for me, and he's the only probably nailed defender other than Van Dijk in their Liverpool team. So Trent Alexander-Arnold is the first defender. Second one is Pedro Porro. Spurs is very attacking wise, and I think Porro, especially in that defense, is the most attacking defender in that Spurs team. He's a bit like Trent, right? He's probably the most attacking defender in the entire back line. 5.5 million, I think he's absolutely worth it. I think he's a bargain player. 30% people chose him. You can see how popular he is. With decent opening fixtures of Leicester at home, away, and Everton at home, and then despite the Newcastle Arsenal game, you got pretty good run of fixtures. I think Pedro Porro deserves a go for me, and he's 0.5 mil cheaper than Saliba, Gabriel, or Gavardio. Despite the Spurs defense could be a little problem, although I do think they're going to improve this season. But I think that 0.5 million is one of the key options why you should go for Pedro Porro. And I think he's better than quite a lot of 6 mil defender, especially if Vardy didn't play that left back position. Or moving on into the left wing for Vardy, I think Porro is a very popular and good option to get it in your team. And I think Mikalenko and Anderson, it just forms a really, really nice rotation between them. Mikalenko is only 4.5 mil defender in the Everton team. Everton have a really, really solid defense last season, so there's no reason not to go for an Everton defender. In that game week 2 and 4 against Spurs and Villa, I believe Anderson's got West Ham and Leicester at home, so that forms a really, really nice rotation there in your team. And they are very attacking. Anderson is pretty attacking wise, same as Mikalenko. They provide you enough attacking threat at 4.5 million. Despite those wing backs, and I think because a lot of fullbacks at 4.5 are not guaranteed starter, like Matty Cash, like Luca Dean, like Nico Williams in Nottingham Forest. So I think Mikalenko and Anderson are nailed on starter, and they can provide you some attacking threat. So they're very, very good options in that 4.5 million price tag, and they form a really good rotation between those two. So there's no reason not to go for those two. And the last defender is Antonio Robinson, who's the one I really like. He's quite loan owned, 6.2% only. In the Fulham recent game, we see he goes up so deep. Usually it will be Castagna last season, but this season it becomes Antonio Robinson to become the inverted fullback into that midfield or even front court. So I think Antonio Robinson is a really, really good, solid pick at 4.5 mil. I think he's probably the best 4.5 mil players you can get, because he inverted so deep and he's getting enough attacking threats. He got 1 assist or 2 assists yesterday in that Fulham game. It shows you how attacking he is. So I think Antonio Robinson is a very, very good pick. And with the good opening fixtures, you got Leicester away in game week 2, and Ipswich are home away at in game week 3. There's 2 potential clean sheets there, and he can get you enough attacking returns. So Antonio Robinson is the 5th defender in my team. So my FPL psychology is that you need to have at least 4 good 4 good defenders for you to form a rotation throughout the 38 game weeks. Because otherwise, you might get situations like you get a red card, you get a suspension, you get injuries, and at that point, if you got 4.4 mil defenders sitting on a bench, you have to immediately make a transfer, which is not good for your original plan or whatever it is. So having at least one rotational defender in your bench is going to be benefit, even though that means spending an extra 0.5 mil in your defender. I think it's totally worth it. It avoids you to taking those unnecessary hits like -4, even -8 sometimes. So yeah, I think having a good rotational defender system in your FPL team is really, really important. And now we're moving on to the midfield. Mo Salah is 100% in there for me. There's no reason. With no Haaland in this draft, Mo Salah is going to be in there. We see what he can do in the last 7 seasons. And I think Mo Salah is just so consistent. And with the great opening fixtures run, he is the only nailed-on Liverpool starters in that team. So there's no reason to not go for him and Mo Salah. In the latest preseason games, we've seen against Sevilla, we've seen how good Diaz is. He's got 2 goals against Sevilla just now, and Diogo Jota got 1 goal, 1 assist. I think Diaz is again another pretty solid nailed down starter for me, because he's going to play in the left wing position. And then in the new Liverpool system under Arne Slot, I think Diogo Jota is more likely to play the number 9 role than Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo, because I think Arne Slot, he likes pressing and he likes controlling the ball on the player's feet, and I think Diogo Jota is the perfect man to do it, and he's got enough attacking returns in limited amount of times last season. So I think the new Liverpool front 3 could be Diaz, Jota, and Salah again. But you never know. Because Liverpool got they got solid attacking rotations options. So a lot of things could change. They got another friendly game later against Las Palmas. We'll get away and see what's the starting line will look like. Is Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo going to start in those games? We got to wait and see. But I think Salah, again, back to Salah, he's the only nailed-on starter in that Liverpool attack. So I think Salah is completely worth it at this price tag. If we can get a clear idea about Diaz and Jota, I might go for one of them as well to form a double up in the midfield for Liverpool, just because of the great opening run fixtures. But at least for now, I'm only holding Trent and Salah as my Liverpool options. So Eze, it's just a solid pick. Not boring, I wouldn't say, but the only man in Crystal Palace on penalties, on set pieces, decent fixtures in the first 4. So I think that's why loads of people go for him. At 7 mil, he's a pretty good options there. And I think there's no better options than Eze at 7 mil. So I think that's why 33.2% of the players go for Eze. And yeah, he's just overall solid pick. I think same thing with Anthony Gordon. 7.5, very solid. Newcastle, unbelievable opening fixtures. Southampton, no home. That could be a belter of a game. That could be a belter of a game. And then, yeah, Anthony Gordon will start on that left wing for sure, for sure. And then you got Isaac. So I think those two are the Newcastle players I'm going for. Anthony Gordon is nailed on starting. The only problem with Gordon is I don't know if he can get 16 assists again, but I think the attacking threats are there. But we gotta have the expectation that his points are going to be lower than last season. They're potentially lower than last season. We have to have that mindset in our head. But overall, a 7.5 Anthony Gordon is a really, really good pick. The other 7.5 million is Jared Bowen. But with the opening fixtures, I think that's what limits a lot of people to go for him. Although I do think Jared Bowen isn't the kind of players that depends on fixtures run, because he's got the ability to score at any single game. So I think if you don't want to go for Gordon, Jared Bowen is another good option. But I think the fantasy football AI rates Gordon higher because they got a great opening fixture run. And I think again, Anthony Gordon could be like the Jared Bowen 2 years ago last season, where he has an amazing season but fell off a little bit this season, where he like didn't reach quite a lot of people's expectations. So I think Gordon overall is a solid pick, but you have to have the preparation that he's going to drop in points a little bit. And Bruno Fernandes as the fourth midfielder, he is just like Martin Odegaard. Like these two are the type of players that is nailed on number 10 starting. He's on penalties, Bruno. He's on free kicks. He's on corners. He provides you enough attacking threats every single season. It's not going to be that much, but it's going to be enough for you to get 160, 170 points every single season. So overall, Bruno Fernandes is just a boring but solid, consistent pick for me. At 8.5, I think he's worth it. I think one of him and Odegaard is worth it, but Bruno on penalties makes me slightly leans towards Bruno Fernandes and Martin Odegaard at this price tag. So Bruno Fernandes is the fourth midfielder in that midfield. And I think Man United with some decent opening fixtures, he could provide you something interesting. We see in the Community Shield he's just Garnacho with 1 goal. That shows you he can do his stuff. He can do his stuff. I mean, if another midfielder you want to go for in Man United team is going to be Garnacho, because Rashford plays crap yesterday, but he could be a punt. You never know. But for now, Bruno is the Man United first choice midfielder if you want to have in your team, and the second one is Garnacho, and the third one is going to be Rashford. And the last midfielder is just Nkunku. He's just so good. Overall, he's just so good. Finest performance in the preseason games for Christopher Nkunku, 3 goal, 1 assist. A little bit injury prone, but I think it doesn't affect him that much. So Nkunku 6.5, he's a type of player that can overperform at his price tag. He can make that price tag a complete joke. At 6.5, he can have a very, very solid season to start, I'll say. So Nkunku, there's no reason not to go for him. Although he's not in the recent lineup with Chelsea against Inter Milan, but most of the team is not starting 11s. They got no Cole Palmer there. I think Endo Maleshka is still trying the teams out a little bit. Both Nkunku and Palmer is on the bench. We're going to wait and see if they come up in the second half. And Christopher Nkunku is just overall a cheap bargain, very good player for me. Front three, again, I've talked about loads of time. Isak. I can't find a point against Isak at 8.5 mil. He's just the best value, efficient striker among all of them. So, as you can see, 55% chosen. If you look at on YouTube, whoever posting videos, I'm sure almost 100% of them got Isak. He's just so good as an option. there's like this. I can't find a reason to go against him. And then the second midfielder is gonna be Ollie Watkins. I think the only reason, the only point you can go against Ollie Watkins is that assist number is not going to be as high as last season. It's definitely not going to be. 18 assists is too ridiculous for a forward, especially for expected assist. But overall, Ollie Watkins provide you enough goals, and he's gonna get some assists, but not as much as last season. Same thing with Ollie Watkins, like Anthony Gordon. His numbers will drop, but doesn't mean he's not a good player at 9 million price tag. You just have to have the mental preparation that his points is gonna drop, like 200 points probably, or 190, because that's what it should be. Last season is a bit of an anomaly for me. But overall, Villa got great opening fixture despite Arsenal at home. So, and Watkins is the main man in that Villa attack. He's on penalties. I don't know if he's on penalties, but he provides you goals. He's the core in that attack of Villa. So that's why Ollie Watkins just a good option at 9 million. He's not overpriced, but he's not underpriced either. For those people who choose Ollie Watkins, I know you guys are probably thinking that he's gonna get this much point again, but I'm telling you, he's probably not gonna go get 230 points again. He's probably gonna get 200s, but again, that's not a bad score. You just have to have that mental preparation for Ollie Watkins at this price tag. And the last player I'm going for is gonna be João Pedro, who scored a goal last yesterday in Brighton's final preseason games against Villarreal. He's a good player. He came back from the injury. He played at 5.5. I think he's gonna be the nailed on start number 9 or even number 10 for Brighton. And I think João Pedro is on penalty as well. So at 5.5, he's a bit like Nkunku in midfield. He could definitely outscore the price tag. He could be a game breaking player for me, despite the lack of opening fixtures. But to be honest, I think the only tough game is Arsenal away at game week 3 in the first 5. Man United at home, with Man United current form, I'm not really worried, especially with Brighton amazing preseason form. Everton away is not ideal, but you could get goals there. Ipswich and Forest at home, it's just brilliant. So there's no, you could go for João Pedro definitely a 5.5 mil price tag. But if you worry about his injury or etc., he's not going to play, then go for Adam Armstrong. But I'll suggest to go for João Pedro because he could be a game breaking player. And as you can see, is rated 95 out of 100 in Fantasy Football Hub. And that is the first time I've got that rating in Fantasy Football Hub AI rating. And I actually pretty like this team. I probably will carry most of the players in this team into my game week 1. But some could change, right? Because the AI rating is a quite complex system. You can add players that you like in it. But overall, this is a pretty, very, very solid team, I would say. So leave a comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. We'll provide you more of my draft coming up in the coming week, and I'll show you my final draft before the game we won deadline. And see you guys soon. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe.